Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is the Diva D from Carved Out Divas.
April Cobb from April's Beauty Bar
Yes, and together we are Diversity
and Equity.
in Education. Good evening, everyone. It's the second to last Sunday in the month of February, and we are winding down in terms of this month, and we're getting closer as every single day to the first conference night, technically, first time that we will start to see the progress report. So let's discuss some things before that we had truck on into that conclusion for the week. So April, how's your week? How you been doing?
Our week is going well thus far. Just a lot of, grief and emotional things that are attached to when you lose a close friend, and it's been an interesting week. But don't forget that we are being hosted by
The fantastic and phenomenal Teaching for the Culture, spearheaded by Bianca Goolsby, and we thank her so much for using this platform to continue to push us out there. So thank you and welcome.
Yeah, so this week has been interesting. We lost a fellow co-worker, and it was so sudden to where I think a lot of us are still in shock. I just continue to put forth the verbiage to those that are in a position to make schedules that would not afford individuals that are elderly, that are African American, that may have underlying health issues, to put them in classrooms, because even though they may not acquire COVID, it still could possibly cause complications in other areas. And I'm not saying there's facts to it. However, I just think that we just got to be very conscious on these schedulings and how things are done. So I'll leave that conversation there, and he definitely will be missed.
Yeah, I do understand that, and it's just heartbreaking and it's close to home for every last one of us. So we just all have to be conscientious of that, and also how it affects our students as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. So tell me about well, we had on our list today a few topics that we're going to talk about, but number one, we're talking about units. Let's explain to the people out there what units are and what it means to have a unit cut or reassigned. So let's talk about that first.
So units equates to people, teachers, staff, and those units are established by the number of students and the FTE dollars and so on and so forth. Now, what I've never been able to understand is how can a unit equate to 2.87 of a person or 1.16 of a person? That's never been explained in depth. So I really don't know, but it appears that after all the heavy hiring of our leadership in the district, and out of all the years I've ever worked for the district, it's never been a place where teachers would be cut, because there's always a shortage of who?
Teachers.
So I can't seem to wrap my head around how there's a shortage of teachers nationwide, but our district put out there at some point, I think the number was 1,500 teachers or staff that was scheduled to be cut. And we're trying to figure out how. When you got all these husband and wives combos making six figures. Go ahead, Didi.
You have entire every year. I mean, I don't think there's been a single year since at least I've been employed by the district that we have not started school with a lack of teachers. We've had teachers who actually will say they come into work and then not show up the first couple of days of school. And so because they found something better, they're like, oh, I don't want to be at this school, I want to go to that school. But you've never had we've never gone in there and said that every single school has met 100% staff fulfillment, that every position is, it's not been like that. So now you're saying, okay, so here's the whole, that's a great explanation in terms of a unit. So a unit, say for example, one school may have so many math teachers, so many reading teachers, and then another school just doesn't have one of their particular site. They would just then take the teacher from the school that's probably considered overstaffed and put that teacher into another a school where there's a deficit for it. However, the big thing about that is the shakeup. The big thing about that is the shakeup. Hold on, we having some audio issues.
Yes, you need to take that. You're gonna have to take that out, because that sound that we were referring to last week, it just did it just now. So you got to make some adjustments because it's going to make it throughout the entire podcast, and we don't want that. So you might have to take those off, DD. It's whatever that was just startled me. So yeah, it's got something to do. Yeah, you got to take those off.
Okay, hold on 1 second, guys. How about now? You guys are good?
Yes, but whatever that is it's causing that. So you just might need to let it go.
Okay, but you can hear me though.
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Perfectly. All right, good. That's what it is. I think it's just a bumping of the headphones. I have headphones in. So yeah, I just threw myself off. But anyway, moving from one location to the other, I think that's what it is. That's what they're trying to do. But the problem is, okay, you may have on the top end of the scale in terms of payment, in terms of those who are hired. There's some people way up on the top end of the scale. Maybe if the salaries were scaled back, perhaps you wouldn't say that you'd have to be at a deficit per se. So I'm not 100% sure how or why they think that we need to cut from the bottom. But then here's some of the excuses, or not excuses. Here's some of the things that they came up with. They were saying that, well, they've overspent this year on things like PPE. They said
right.
overspent this
we
year
do that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's we've overspent on PPE. We've overspent on just general equipment, the computers that the kids needed, just things that they did not expect to have right now. And so because of that, that's why they say, okay, we got to start moving things around.
Well, the key thing with all of that is, and I'm echoing since you took the actual headphones off. Okay, it stopped. So the key thing with all of that is that the individuals that they're removing are the individuals that are in front of students. So I'm just trying to figure out, if we're removing the teachers, the classrooms, brick and mortar, are very large. What are you all proposing to do once you remove those individuals? Put more kids in the classrooms? Because remember, we got this, you still have courtrooms that have not opened back up. You have veterinarian offices that you can't go in with your animals right now because of COVID. You got dentists, you got doctors' offices, and I'm trying to figure out why the hell not we back in the building. Hell, I'm just trying to figure out, like, it's like we're living in the twilight zone to be thinking that, oh, we're still using verbiage that because of COVID. We can't be using it because we're back in school with kids rolling up on school buses, getting off 30 deep, 40 deep, cafeterias full, classrooms full. I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, every time I think about it, I'm like, are these people insane? We're functioning as if everything is normal, but the rest of the world is acting like COVID still exists. Oh, that's because it does. I can't.
Right. And then the situation is, the whole situation with that is that, people expect that by returning kids to school, it's going to fix the economy. It's going to, seem to fix everything that of all the ills of society. But the biggest issue is the fact that you're creating a hot spot all around by everything that you see now, football games. You see kids in school, buses, they're in a line in the cafeteria. I mean, no matter how much structure you have on any kind of your process and your structure that you have in the school, you still have the number one element that's going to spread it, and that's the children. Okay? I don't care what anybody says. Kids are going to be kids. We've seen this particular week whole fights in school. Now, I know we're not supposed to use that word. When we use that word, we use the word the disruptions, or perhaps, entanglement, whatever they want to call, whatever word they want to use. I forgot.
Was it infractions or incidents?
Something. Okay, so it was something like that where it was, but that's actually happening, as if the kids are saying that COVID ain't got nothing on these hands. So you basically gonna continue and act the way you're gonna act. But I'm like, do you not know we are in a pandemic? We're in a pandemic, so therefore you cannot just. It's mind blowing, but yet school is what they consider the safest thing to open up versus everything else that didn't open. Yeah, I'm mine is blown, and you can throw it all on there if you want. I brought my own. there you go. April, comments?
I was trying to open
I was
up the
trying to open up
message
the
and see what comments we have. So right now, yeah, we just figured out the echoing. It's because when Denise disconnected her headphones, it created that echoing on this side. Because I'm not even on the computer. It was fine before. Yes, Gretchen, COVID is still here, live in full effect. Gretchen says children got on masks. I wish had not opened so quickly all the schools. Yeah, the children do have on the mask. They are very conscious of it. But remember, the classrooms, many of them, like at our school site, the air conditioner wasn't lowered to a place to make it cooler. So the kids are very hot. They're very hot. So there are multiple times throughout the day you have to tell them to put it over their nose, put it over their face. It's so hot for them. So like the heat is creating headaches. It's creating fatigue, is creating nausea. So, you know, the kids aren't used to being in those masks in those classrooms where the windows, you know, are closed, the air conditioner is supposedly be on. But there was mention that the temperature gauge was supposed to be lowered some. But yeah, that didn't happen along with a bunch of other things. It's just constant lies. So it is very warm throughout a certain portion of the day where the kids, they're doing the best they can with the mask, but there are times when they are really, really hot. And, you know, our air conditioning units are not controlled at the sites. They're micromanaged from downtown. And, you know, we know those offices are very cool downtown. The main office is very cool at my site. The media center is cool at our site, but the classrooms, 300 building, it's warm. It's warm from the time we get there to the time we leave. And again, the kids are being impacted by it. I think it's making some of them, their allergies react to it. And again, like I said, the headaches, the nausea, that's where a lot of that is coming from, that heat with the sending those classrooms with the mask. So something definitely need to be done about that, but that's neither here nor there.
And the thing to think about too is that, you know, now they want to encourage the kids to come back to brick and mortar. So first of all, we'll start off with the 7,500 kids who are actually missing. That's first of all. The news, in case anybody didn't pay attention to the news report that says that we've lost technically 7,500 kids. Well, which of course would then lead it back to the unit allocation situation, because they're like, well, guess what? If you found the 7,500 kids, you might not have to cut anybody or move people around because the kids are actually somewhere, which tells us that parents figure out what's going on, because kids don't just magically come up missing. I've had two of them this week that where they moved out of state. So okay, that counts for two kids. But what happens to the rest of them? So now we're going to focus on brick and mortar. You want to bring the kids back into school, and that's wonderful. But we're going back to COVID. Where have those kids been? All the ones who have been home all this time, who probably have not been following the protocols that are instilled in school right now. What's going to happen when those kids come back to school? Now, the rest of them who've been sitting there the first 4 weeks, they pretty much understand, listen, masks, you know, we got to, you know, stay so many distance apart, wash our hands, put on our, you know, hand sanitizer, all that stuff like that. What's going to happen when the other kids come in and they weren't here for the original spiel? You got to literally stop and train them before you integrate them. But I don't think that's going to happen. I just think everybody's going to just want to come back to school. So then that leads us into grades too, because, you know, how is grades for you?
Well, let's go back to that conversation. Let's talk about the inconsistencies with, yes, no, you can no longer come back on campus. And then some sites, yes, they're currently taking kids back on campus. Yes, the digital divide still exists. It seems as though everyone has went quiet about the digital divide. Nobody wants to talk about that anymore. Oh, because it's not a benefit for the ones that wanted to have the choice to send their kids back to school. So we're no longer needing to promote the fact that the digital divide existed. The achievement gap, you know, is still there because those kids that's been out for 5 months plus. Remember, the current grade level that they're in, that's the current curriculum that they want us to start on, and they want us to shovel it in and shovel it out. So there was no adjustments made at my site where there was some like type of impact curriculum or program to put in place to go capture those skill sets that the children did not receive the last quarter of school. So just remember, there's a lot that's going to widen the achievement gap, because once again, with like for math is not something you could just, keep adding layers on without the foundation being strong. If the foundation isn't there, they can't move forward. It's a building skill. So I still see that, once again, multiplication facts, fact families, subtraction fluency, like, it's still weak. Better, but they're still weak, because remember, I only have half of the students that I would have on campus. So it appears the ones that did come, they're stronger than I've seen in years. But the question for me would be, if all the kids were on campus, would then I not be able to notice the strengths of all the students that are demonstrating strengths in those areas? Would I be able to notice it at all? And I'm not sure I would, because you have so many with demonstrating deficits to where it kind of watered down the few that are strong. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I want Hillsborough County to know there are many parents that allow their children just to sit home. I had 7 kids come to school this past week, and I asked, where have you been? Were you online? No. Have you been at another school? No. So just know that that's happening. And if you have a family member that have children, call and make sure those children are in school, because I know there is conversation that social workers going to start knocking on some doors to figure out what's going on. And in certain situations, y'all know y'all don't need those people at your houses. So do what's right. Send the kids to school. Just send them on to school.
Right. And you're absolutely right, because you're looking at a set of kids who have not, who are so far behind. Like, and I agree with that point that you made in terms of, I'm noticing the ones who are in attendance, the ones who are doing the work, they're testing well, they're doing very well. I mean, it's like as if to say I have a class of just. It's amazing how the students have in the class. However, I'm only seeing that population. I'm not seeing the population, the true population of the ones who I know are seeing severe deficits. So, for example, in my first period class, where there's like 4 kids who daily do not make it to class. They don't do any work. They don't go on Zoom. But it's like, so I know they are truly falling behind. I've reached out. We've sent out messages. Okay, now it's time to really start. Yeah, just like you said, it's time to knock on somebody's door. Even though you don't want to send a truancy officer out, the children are truant. They're not in school. At this age, they're supposed to be in school.
Well, we surely paying officers' wages, aren't we? Don't we got a contract? Don't we have more officers in school than school counselors? So yeah, let's put them to work. Let's get that work in. Because at this point, I want to know how they expect to truly do observations and evaluations when we can't make those kids come to class, but my BAM score is still attached to this, because y'all still want to
Correct, because we received the email last week that said they're doing evaluation informal leading up to formal evaluation. But I'm saying to myself, every day my roster has changed, every single day.
Oh, and it's going to change this week.
Again. So I'm like, there's some things you need to just decide. Let's just get rid of certain things. Like this year should not even be an evaluation year, because we have never experienced this, and it's going to be complete chaos. I had a homeroom change twice. I've had a class go from 14 to 32 overnight. So I'm just saying to you, how are you going to?
Does your administration say anything to you when they do that?
No.
Ours don't give a common courtesy. They don't send an email. They just change the schedule, and you like, oh, okay. And then parents get caught up in the changes, and parents get upset with you, like, because they still have your Zoom accessibility. So they come on all upset, like, what's going on? What's happening? Right. We don't know. We're treated like that. We are part of the afterthought.
Right.
But we're the ones that are leading this race and all of this.
Correct. And parents will and what she said was an excellent point. We don't control that. A lot of times when parents will message me, send me messages, they get angry, they send me, little hate emails. Okay, understand something. Just like I didn't know your child existed before that child's name showed up on the roster, I don't have control over that. We are literally when we like every day I run my rosters. Why? Because every day I am anticipating a change every day.
Right.
So it's not like, okay, I got my first period class memorized. I know everybody in that class, because come tomorrow it might be a whole other child in that class. Second period, at every period there's new children. I mean, I'm looking at names. I just ran the roster. Look at how interesting it was. One day I ran the roster in the morning, and I ran it again in the afternoon. Completely different set of kids on the in the class. So you have to understand, we don't have control over that. That's not something that we have ownership of. So you just got to work with us too. So it goes back then to the evaluation process. How you evaluate me? I got kids that come in every day asking questions from day one. They ask me day one questions in the 5th and 6th week of school. Day one question, like, how do I get on Zoom? How do I do this? How do I do that? They ask you, they want to learn Canvas from now because they just enrolled in school. Meanwhile, the rest of us been on Canvas for a couple of weeks and we struggling through. Now I got to go back and reteach just simple steps to get them on track with the rest of the class. This is not easy.
It's a challenge daily because, again, you hate to see a child sit in the classroom and just, sit and struggle. They're asking questions. Miss, I don't know what to do. Put a number 1 in the chat if you understand what's going on. Put a number 2 in the chat if you don't know what's going on. It'd be 2 or 3 twos every week because, again, they've been, put on the roster, and then they start saying, I'm new, I don't know what to do. So now what do you do with the others while you're trying to carry on with keeping their attention long enough to be able to, it's insane. It's insane. So what they're expecting, it's insane. Veronica, let's go back. Nichelle said, I just said that the other day. I really don't understand why they don't let us control the AC. I mean, they trust me to teach the children, but not control the AC. Right. So we could be hot, Nichelle, all day, air day. All day, air day, with possible chemicals in the room that supposed to be anyway. Because it was that's a whole other story. Veronica says, get mad and stay mad, but channel that anger to the downtown officers and school board. I agree. Because they officers stay cool, and if not, they go to the house. I'm sure.
And their floors are beautiful. There, have you seen it? Slide by the school board one time and just go see what it looked like. I mean, that's really. Meanwhile, I still got that crack from 3 years ago in my kitchen floor. Everybody coming through to come. I'm down to 3 cheapest estimates right now. I'm like, what do y'all come fix this crack? Anyway, what is it? Okay, Bradford. My son is in an ESC autism class online. I can only imagine what they're going. Yes, online. Because now we're talking about services, the deficit in services. Now, if you want to try and cut positions or move people around, the children don't even have the services right now. How are you cutting?
My kids receive speech, and I ain't heard from nobody about the speech. And I started calling in July. I haven't heard from anyone. I sent emails. I haven't heard from anyone yet. So I just want to know when the service is going to come through, because you get money from them.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Wasn't it? Tell me. Well, look, Gretchen said legs. You're right. Because of the fact that we're sitting here trying to figure it out ourselves. Like, what is going on? And then speaking of what's going on, look, we've gone through the great debate this week over parents helping and attire. Let's parents. I'm gonna say it one more time. I think that y'all are not realizing that. Okay, think of it this way. When you leave your house, they say that you're photographed at least 70%. 70 times from the time you leave your house to the time you get back to your house. You're on somebody's camera, some photograph. Okay, so keep that in mind to start off with. So when you leave your house, you might pass by a camera in somebody's house, pass by an ATM machine, you're passing by stores, things like that. Think of the child Zoom class just like that. Someone is seeing you. So if somebody can see you, meaning the teacher can see you. We would suggest that you not, you know, do inappropriate things in front of them. And also, remember, the children are in school. To you, you might not think they're in school, but remember, they need a quiet environment to work in. At least minimize the noise around them. I mean, there's some kids who are struggling. They're trying so hard, but they can't concentrate because of the amount of noise. And even though the child has noise canceling headphones, when they have to speak and respond to a question, because not all the time will they put it in the chat. When they have to actually speak, you can hear the amount. It sounds like a parade, a full band, a party at 9 a.m. in the morning. I mean, y'all having a full party. It's 9 o'clock in the morning.
I want to add to the fact that parents, custodial guardians, whatever it is may be, the best thing you could do for your child is put them in a space that has a flat wall behind it, because you're less likely to walk behind the chair. You're just less likely, because that means you done hit that toe a few times already on that chair. So you ain't gonna put yourself in that position. So put your child at a space where they have a flat wall behind them. A flat wall behind them. Otherwise, you are opening up a gamut of conversations that your child might have to deal with when they return back to school, brick and mortar. These kids have the ability to do screenshots and all of that during this time. So please help your child not have to save face later. And parents, clean up the space that your child is in. Clean up the space. Because I'm telling you, some of the things that we see on the other side of that camera, you be like, oh God. So I don't get into the judgmental piece as long as nobody's not being harmed. But please note, your children's peers see these things, and that creates unnecessary conversation. Social media is real. IG is evil. When I tell you, Instagram is just, look, don't empower their peers with information that they don't want shared. A flat wall behind them. That's all I got to say.
And I can concur with that, because I can tell you, just by us being teaching online, we get endless, like I'm telling you, I know parents are reaching out to me on Facebook. I'm like, you know what? I want you to respond in Canvas, on my Google phone number, and also to the school email, because Facebook is not just because you see me now, and you now, because you've seen me on Zoom every day, so now you got an idea who I am. Now you're looking for me, and now you're following me. Oh no, this is not the environment that we're gonna have conversations on, not on Instagram, stuff like that. We have to have a conversation in school platforms. And also, also to tell you, just like we talked about evaluations, teachers' evaluation, remember, at some point in time, the principal gets on the Zoom and is looking. So I might not report you, but somebody else who have that power, the counselors get on our Zoom, our coaches get on Zoom, or the media specialist gets on Zoom, and I might not be the one that says what I saw, but somebody else who might be a little more willing to type professional documentation might say, okay, inside this child's household is A, B, C, D. I saw A, B, C, D, and maybe somebody want to come by and take a look, do a what do you call it? Wellness check. Please, we can't say it, stress it enough. Please. Yes, see this wall right here? That's what I got. That's all I got. A wall. Nobody can pass behind me. A wall. That's it. Have your child like that, and because it's safer for you and for them and for us. That's all we can truly say about that. It truly is safer for all of us that way. Okay. So and please also, of course, refers to dressing appropriately. Remember, the children are in school. They shouldn't be eating breakfast. Like, if you look at the time that we start, okay, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. If you were at school, you'd have had breakfast at 8 and you'd have been in class. We shouldn't be eating Fruit Loops and sitting there talking about, I'm pouring my cereal on, folding clothes, I'm washing clothes. He coming right now, he washing the dishes. No, we just, come on, let's follow the schedule as outlined. Okay? All right. So, go ahead.
And a shirt like this is an example of the shirt that I was telling you all that they should not wear. Because if I take the sleeves off and if I scoot down, look, watch how I go to naked, y'all. Watch.
Don't do it.
Look how they got naked. Look. Don't wear these kind of shirts, because it sends the wrong message. These little straps make me seem like now I got on some clothes. But if you got on a tube top, they swear you naked. A straight line. So help your child be great.
That screenshot gonna be all over too. They be like,
look at Miss Cobb on the screen naked, y'all. No! Put the shirt on.
One time they got my feet. One time I wore some slides one time. They got my feet. I got that one toe that just. But how y'all just gonna make a whole meme with my foot? You just.
Look, it don't take much for these kids, so I make sure. Look, I make sure I am presentable on the screen because it's so quick to tell it. It's so quick to tell it. I'm telling you. And look, before you know it, you got a whole lie that's just out there. So I'm telling y'all, help yourself, help your child, help the teacher, help everybody be great in the e-learning world.
That's a PSA right there.
Make sure the strap show. It got to show. Otherwise, the lies begin. Y'all seen Tay mama on there? She was naked. She had just got the shower and done a whole story off a lie.
Right. And also to emphasize too, parents, there's a time, each of us do have a planning period. There is a time when you can ask questions. Don't utilize the child's learning time to then jump in the Zoom. Well, I've seen on the schedule that it said, and then you all on the screen like this. But then you said that it was like, what time it started? I'm like, ma'am.
And they be hollering.
Hollering because they don't think you can hear. So this is the baby's teaching time. Unless I have a window that you can contact me during that window, but don't get in the Zoom because now you're interrupting the rest of the class. The whole class now is hearing and seeing you and talk about this situation. I don't want that. So just be aware that the time that you see the teacher, yes, the teacher's on the e-learning, but they're teaching during that time. So you are more than welcome to inbox the teacher and find out what the hours are, which the syllabus should have been uploaded, but it's neither here or there. But just look for the time, and that's the time that we're available. So I mean, really, we want to work with you, but we do understand. And then now going to the ones who are switching. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, I have no answers for that. I have no answers on how your work is going to go, how it's going to be graded because your child was on e-learning and then now they popped up at school last week. I don't know what's happened. All I know is your child was removed from my roster because now they're a brick and mortar student. So you would have to look at that entire schedule, find out from those teachers. I am not sure what the grade's going to look like. I don't know whatever work they did in my class going to transfer over. These are questions that I don't have answers to.
The problem with that is once they change a child from one class to another, all the information, grades and stuff disappear. It disappears. So when they don't have common courtesy administration to let a teacher know that, hey, by the way, we're going to be making some drastic changes. You might need to print your fourth, fifth, or whatever class it is, or run your grades so that you can have a hard copy. Because remember, you all want us to go over to everything digital. Everybody don't use the old school, handy dandy, old school, grade book. So with that being said, common courtesy, administrators that are out there, I'm pretty sure it might just be my situation. Let people know when the schedules are going to be changed so that they can be prepared. Because then if I don't have it on a hard copy, I got to try to scalpel to get all those assignments back to put back in to give the next teacher grades provide. But they won't catch me again because I got the book. They got me once. They won't catch me again the rest of this year. They won't catch me again. Not like that. No, because then you feel guilty for not being able to support that child that did all that work, and now their grades are gone. So yeah, they won't catch me again. They won't catch me slipping again. No.
In our situation, we have kids who just guess what we've got to that point where you've bent enough, and now you completely buckled now. And so we are in a situation where the kids who have done nothing at all. So I don't even have grades to transfer because you literally did nothing. So you just came right back to school. That was it. So basically, you were signed up. You chose to do nothing.
And at your school, what is the procedure when a child has done nothing? You've called. You know the child is alive, but they still not logging in. What is your procedure at your school from administration and guidance, support staff?
The support staff is supposed to follow up. Because I mean, once you've done all the steps, the support staff follows up. I don't know. I mean, some of them I've seen that they've actually gotten in touch with. Like we've got some information for some kids never had a laptop. They're choosing to come back, but then there's others who there's nothing. I mean, and I'm my concern is that they also haven't found them. That's my concern. Like, we got a few calls. Okay, this child went out of state. This child gone to another parent, whatever. But we have some where there's children on my roster who no one has heard from. Those are the ones we're real concerned about because nobody, every other teacher, you got 7 teachers on the roster, none of the 7 teachers heard from you, or none of the counselors, nobody. So at that point in time, my suggestion would be that y'all need to start knocking on the door, calling the social worker, calling the resource officer since you picking up kids for truancy, because I've seen kids out in the middle of the day. I'm like, well, where aren't you in school? I've been home eve teaching, and at my front door, I'm looking up to see the mailman, but I'm seeing whole kids riding their bikes up and down the street. I'm like, school's in session, so why are you riding a bike at 12:30 in the afternoon?
Right.
Right. But my thing is, police picking them up for everything else. The police picking you up for riding a bike. Why they ain't seeing that you are out of school?
Question. And get you a ride to the schoolhouse.
Right.
Oh, that would be too much like right. Too much.
That is too much like that because it's probably easier to just pick them up and lock them up as opposed to pick them up and say, we're going to get your book bag and we're going to drop you off to school. I'm just
so there's a few messages. Veronica said tomorrow's headline will be April Cobb naked on Facebook. Don't do that, Veronica. See that? That's how it gets started right there. Right there. They're just saying it's the fantastic. They got plenty shirts off of the shirt scenario. Beverly says, what grades are you talking about? Beverly Moore, Denise?
No.
Okay, so we're school teachers, and we're saying grades that we are inputting on the various platforms that we have been required, so to speak, for to capture our student grades. So we're using a software called Canvas, and currently that's what we're putting grades at. But if a child's schedule is changed in that e-learning area or period, that means all the grades just disappear. And unfortunately, we don't know how to generate them, recover them in order to provide the kids grades. So we're saying that it might be wise for administration to share with teachers if they're getting ready to make some changes to student schedules, and advise teachers to print out hard copies of their grades, at least a couple times a week.
Mm-hmm. And we used to do it.
Yeah, Quishina said kids are on Zoom every day, but my son teacher says a few haven't submitted any assignments. Yes, I went through yesterday was my day to do heavy looking at grades, comparing data, see how many students have been checking in, see where there's some trends happening with certain kids not showing up or just logging on for Zoom for 2 minutes and jumping off. Thanks, Dee. So we called parents yesterday to let them know, hey, yeah, your child logging on Zoom, but they jumping on and jumping right off. And then if you're not able to walk past that computer to see it or glimpse over or make sure that they have the volume turned up, then you don't know what they're doing, because they can have something totally different on the other side of the screen. So parents, please, I hope you did not wait till 11:59, meaning this week is progress report week, and you think you're going to come raise hell with teachers because they at home with you, and you should know what these grades are, because you got that whole dashboard to say what they're doing, when they're doing it, how long they done it, because you could be you can log on to the Canvas, what they call them, like they'll be in your. I see parents in my class, but they're on there as a
observer.
Yep. So do your observations, because right now it ain't looking good. So I'm sure in the morning I'm going to have a plethora of emails, and a plethora of phone calls, because them F starts just flying in there. That's what they did in the grade book.
Mine did as well, because once I stored that participation grade board, everything dropped. And because you have to understand, this is like being physically in school. That's like the kid who cut class to go to hang on in the bathroom every day. Okay, come on, man. You don't think it's going to affect your grade because you cut class and hanging on in the bathroom? No, same thing for Zoom. You don't come to class, That's participation. How do you expect to understand? And then what amazes me is the kids will send me messages. I don't know how to do something. Well, you know what? I can't help you until you come to Zoom class. I mean, because I explained it to the entire class. Now you want me to give you step-by-step instructions via messages. It's going to take forever to type the messages out and explain to you. No, you need to come to class, okay? And then look, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm just not going to do that. So, but the ones who are coming into class and let me go back to the parent, the observer. There's you can message everybody. Like when I see the kids going through it like that and they're not coming to the class, I will message all the teachers that they have, all the observers and the students. So everybody gets the message. And they're like, by the way, this is affecting your grade. The first time I did that, I was amazed at how attendance went up because they realized, wait a minute, you sent it to my mama? Yes. Your mom is responding to yeah, she got it too. And everybody who signed up on your canvas under you is who got this message. So, and I really like that feature. That's one feature I do like, though.
Kushina said, okay, we there. Becky Smith says our social worker started going to houses last week. That is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. It's definitely a necessity. Allison Kaminsky says, can parents view screen time like we can see it? I have twin boys, and the answer to that is no. I have not been able to discover how to do that. What I can see is the assignments. Or if you're asking, can they see what the dashboard looks like for each particular class? Yes, they can. Now, excuse me, as far as what it looks like for teachers, no, it looks different. It looks like from a student view. It just looks like a student view. Veronica says, tell them one-on-one tutoring is expensive. Attending your Zoom class is cheaper. That is.
Right.
Because you're going to cut them $50 an hour if we doing any tutoring. Fit it.
Hourly rate is what I'm charging you. So you might not want to cough that up for one or 2 hours, possibly 3 per week. So no, you want to come to Zoom class and get that free for like everybody else. Okay. So no, we're not doing that. Okay. But I will talk to your mom for a little bit and ask her, why you can't get on. That's something I will do. And then parents too, listen, you can't run errands with children that's supposed to be in class. We don't do car learning. We're not doing car learning, parents. We just run.
You know how much of that I had this week? Everybody was saying they're going to appointments. They're going to the doctor. I got to go to my grandma's house. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm like, okay, I get it. But y'all should have set that schedule up the day before so you could have spent the night over at grandma's house or whatever you needed to do, because the car chronicles from e-learning, they literally are car chronicles.
What you got, car
chronicles? One little girl said, we're on our way to Orlando. Wait. Yeah. Y'all got the full music going on. Dun 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 dun. I'm like, y'all, you going where? She just dancing. Got the whole Zoom. Honey, could you turn your screen off? You're distracting me. We're going to Orlando. Oh, okay. The mother, don't say that. She didn't say it now. Her little sister been juking in the back seat.
Also, parents, listen. I know that your child is home, but if your child's role is to babysit, it's going to be harder for her or him to concentrate. I mean, I've had one where they have 3 babies with them. 3 babies. I'm babysitting, but you learn it. So think of it this way: if that child was in school, that child wouldn't be babysitting at 2:00 in the afternoon. You know that.
Do your parts, parents.
Yeah.
They are not in-house babysitters. No. They're supposed to be learning, not learning and babysitting. So now, we're creating truth in the narrative that was painted that it's a safe haven or a place to get away. School is for children. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Stop. Mm-hmm. Stop. Just stop.
Right. But we just listen. We just know that that's not. Come on, that's not. Go ahead, April.
So Allison says, I like to let parents know they log on for only a few hours for the day. They don't believe me or Ed Connect. Well, honey, listen. You could provide some individuals with the clear writing on the wall to compare number 45 and our former president. And if we line up the goods versus the bads, and no matter what we say, no matter what the reality is, a person gonna believe what they want to believe. It could be right in their face, breathing on their neck, biting them. And when you got that type of situation, move on.
Right.
Tell them bye-bye. Figure it out.
You can't. You can't. There's some people that have achieved a level of ignorance that it's just unimaginable, and so you can't. Well, there ain't nothing you can do. That's why I've achieved peace, because I realize I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm gonna let you win. Go ahead, do you.
So Veronica McDonald says I had to opt out of you might know what this test is, the FSKRS testing for my kinder baby, because I still had 2 3rd and 5th graders at home. I wasn't about to take them to learn in the car. Yeah, we don't want no Car Chronicles e-learning. Good job, Miss Veronica.
Thank you.
I just want to point out that all this baseline testing that they collecting, I needed for my coaches on the campus to explain to me, capturing this baseline data, is it going to create more of an opportunity for the students to miss more days from instruction, or just wait until they take their midterm? I don't see the purpose behind the baseline assessment, 66 questions for a child that's not have taken math for how long? Because I know the gaps are there. I think I would get more bang for my buck just using my own in-classroom teacher made test and mini assessments. And just constantly, doing those multiplication facts. I just don't see the purpose of the baselines. And I get why the baseline, but not right now, the 66 question test. It doesn't make any sense to do it right now, in my opinion.
No, that's interesting, because I do know in math I can see that. Now for reading, we have to figure out where they are, because if they can't read, it's applicable across.
Well, you already know they can't read.
All the way across.
You already know that. So I'm trying to figure out what's your point. Like right now, there's certain things that we just know. We know they've been out of school for almost 6 months. We know already that if they were a level 1 in March, they're still a level 1 right now. So yeah, no, it doesn't make sense to me, but I digress. I get where y'all are coming from, but I don't see the purpose.
I think especially for advanced kids, it's good to baseline those kids, because we want to make sure they didn't drop. That's one thing. The advanced ones, you definitely don't want to make sure they didn't drop. The low level ones, you pretty much can guarantee that there's still going to be a 1. So okay, yeah, I get that point right there. So but yeah, with all the testing right now, look, parents, parents keep asking me as well. But I don't know. Go ahead, what was that?
So Veronica said that it's the kindergarten readiness screening. Okay, I never heard of that language, but yeah, they learned something new today. And Gretchen says, then the parents get mad with the teachers if something goes wrong, don't realize it's them. Legs all the way.
Legs.
Take off.
Take life.
Yeah.
Me through the camera.
And what else we have on topic for today?
Well, the one thing I will I love it. We're in space. The one thing I will mention today, because first of all, we're all about women empowerment, female empowerment, and strength, and everything. Okay. It's very important that you all vote. Because just to let you know, those of you that did not or haven't paid attention to the news, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a Supreme Court justice. She passed away on Friday. Now, you might not think this person, would matter, because a lot of things locally mean a lot more to us than they do in the Supreme Court. However, when you have a female justice that, think about your life like this: the fact that you can get your own credit card in your own name, you own property in your own name, you can buy your own car. There's a lot of things that you just take for granted as a woman that you didn't realize that she has been a justice so long. She made crucial decisions that allowed these things to happen for us. Okay, so I need you to understand that if we continue with the current presidency that we're in right now, we may lose a lot of these protections that were afforded to us through the particular judges of the Supreme Court, who were prayerfully that they don't elect anybody ahead of time. So it's just letting you know also. So now if you didn't make the connection, I'm just going to throw the little connection out there for you, so that you realize the importance of voting. Now, of course, that means the president is who's going to be the one who selects the person for the Supreme Court. So it's really important that y'all make wise decisions. That's all I gotta say about it. And she was one of those, just like Maxine. She was one of those who pulls the young people together. Somebody who is that age, but has young people who are so pushing her. That's why they gave her that title, Notorious, RBG, because they were like, look, you a gangster. How you had no problem standing up against all the white men on the Supreme Court to make decisions that were positive for women. So it's very important, people, to be knowledgeable when you go to vote. And don't forget, so we got to vote for local elections and also vote for president. We left them 60 days till the major thing. So that's really important that we all do that, people. I mean, it's super important. Okay. That's my little spiel. That's all I got.
Yeah, and with that being said, we just have to be mindful that individuals right now are going to say what you want to hear collectively when they are bringing forth their agenda as it relates to you wanting your vote. But we have to base it off past actions if they're currently in seat. I don't know who would think that our current situation in Hillsborough County Public Schools is for the betterment of children right now. And that's speaking from a position as a parent. As a parent, I just don't think that the best decisions are being made on behalf of, what the children, all of the children need. So I just think that we really have to be mindful of the individuals that are currently in position, what role that they serve as it relates to where we're currently at right now in education, the state of education in Hillsborough County. And then think about, were they receptive at any point to take a moment to speak to their constituents from behind closed doors in public forums, to speak to those that don't have agendas that's hidden, to say, if you do this for me in the future, I'll do that for you. Is it monetarily driven? Is it the Cool Kids Club, where people that think they are the leaders of the city of Tampa and the Black voice, that realistically they're not? They just scream and cuss and carry on so much to where they think people respecting them, but they're really, anyway. So it's just very important that we're mindful of this whole voting process thing. And I know my students, I don't know what we were doing, but the conversation came up about their thoughts about what's going on with school. And, it was because it was hot in the classroom. And I said, well, y'all know I don't have, Ms. Carr, why don't you just turn the air down? I'm like, I don't have control over the air conditioner. If I walk over here to it, I did, and start pushing the button. I'm like, nothing happens. It's controlled from downtown. And the kids was looking like, why is it controlled from downtown? So, one of them is always going to be one of my babies that come through. That's a little sassy. She brought the business. She said, what you mean? I said, well, what I mean is, and I shared with her that we don't control the air conditioning units on campus. They're controlled by the individuals downtown or somewhere off campus, in efforts to be mindful of the cost of the electrical bills at each site. She said, well, we in this classroom suffering and hot. They need to come in this hot classroom. We need to vote them out. Those kids hear things. They're thinking about what's beneficial to them right now in this current age, about the people that are making decisions for them, even sitting in the classroom. So please note, these children are paying attention, and they're using the word vote because they understand that it carries power. So if our children understand that, parents, adults, anybody that have the ability to go and vote, you should not be taking it lightly, and you should do your take whatever you need to do to get there to vote by mail, track it if you choose to do that, or get your butt up and go pick up somebody and take them to vote too if they have the ability to vote. Harriet said, exactly, I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to be teaching. They provide grade level curriculum for kids practically 2 or more years behind. I'm teaching one-step equation examples. For example, kids looking at me like, huh, on the screen. They be like, wait, look, the key word, miss, slow down, miss, miss, I need some help, miss. Like little boy said on there, miss, I need it in the chat. I need to talk to you. I need to talk right now. Little boy, my name not miss. Well, miss, if you're gonna take me off the mic, that did it. My head slung around. I was pressing, but look, didn't I just tell you my name not miss? Running full speed to the screen. He was trying to show the video, and it was so heartwarming in the end. But yeah, I was finessed and wasn't able to have conversation on that. But before we jump off, because we're jumping into that time, thank you to all of those that did see the Bay News 9 Everyday Heroes video clip. I still have not seen it to its entirety on my own version, because the person that provides that information going out, they were not in the office. So just technical. But when I do get my hands on it, I'm going to just keep pressing play, keep pressing play. So it definitely was rewarding to receive acknowledgement through that. And also we have, and we'll continue to talk about the school to prison pipeline. It's not going to go away. We have the Sunshine Education Coalition, where there are a collaboration of educators, counselors, community members, and at some point there are going to be children that are going to begin to have these crucial conversations and bring them to the forefront in efforts to change the narrative for our Black boys here in Hillsborough County. Yes, we know that the school to prison pipeline affects all children in some capacity, all ethnicities. We get that. But right now, Black boys are at the top of the hierarchy of this impact, and we got to do something now. We know for a fact that there are collaborations happening in the district that are addressing other populations of children that are non-Black in order to have a conversation about the school to prison pipeline. My question becomes, that's great. But until we have the conversation about the children that it has impacted for decades, we're not getting anywhere. And as a Black community, we need to start opening our mouths and our ears and start listening to the agendas that are being put forward to meet the needs of a specific population of kids that has not been heavily impacted like Black children have. So we better start saying all these organizations that are here in the city of Tampa that has not brought forth this on their agendas and don't include it on their agendas. My question to you has been, will remain to be, why not? Why have not your organizations taken the time to place this on your agenda when you know? I know for a fact there's a Zeta that know, there's a Delta that know, there's an AK know, there's a what they call it, the fraternity guys. I know for a fact that at some point one of you all have heard us say it, and the question becomes: have you taken it back to your organization to make an inquiry as to why collectively y'all have not brought forth this question to the district? Why does this continue to happen? What are you doing to change it? Because book studies are not the solution. And I'm going to leave that at that. Oh, you muted.
No, oh no, I was saying I absolutely agree, because you don't you have such great. I mean, a lot of the organizations are pretty good, but the thing about it is, it's like I'm just gonna reach back to the group I can actually speak to. It's very cliquish. That's another word I could use for it. And it's like, okay, you reach a level of success. You're only working with the ones who you feel can be successful. We got to work with everybody. We can't pick and choose who we're gonna work with, because, well, I don't think that child gonna have any potential. But we have to save them. Remember, all the ones that you're able to save and rescue might end up being the type of people that end up being that person that you want them to be. So we can't just what is that? Put people in pockets and just assume that they're, oh, well, that's a lost cause. No, we have to work together. We just have to do it, and we're gonna continue to talk about it, because, like just like you said, it affects people that look like us. That's what.
And keep in mind that we are always looking for individuals to be a part of this collective work. We don't want people to just come to be a part. You want you to come because you have a talent or treasure that can that's in alignment with the work that needs to be done. We do know that we do need some attorneys to be a part of this conversation with us, to be in this space with us. And we know you all are busy, but we do need to be able to know what currently would be our best interest in how to navigate through this process in order to be a resource to parents as their child may have become, or at some point they're highly likely to fall victim to this situation. So restorative practices is the answer. What they also call it, restorative justice, is the key. But until we have the necessary training and the competency courses and, implicit bias training, go on and on until those things are put in place with fidelity, we're going to continue to see our children fall short as it relates to this whole school to prison pipeline. So we challenge you all. We will continue to challenge you all and to bring it up that we need support in this conversation. It's not a create a whole bunch of smaller organizations in order to address this. Let's collaborate together in order to meet the agenda that in Hillsborough County Public Schools, we must change the narrative for Black boys being the lead in the school to prison pipeline here in the state of Florida.
Great.
And let me correct that, nationwide.
Correct. Okay. So that's all we really have for this evening. We thank you all so much for your time and spending a little quality time with us. We really appreciate that because, hey, you could be any place else, but hey, why not hang out with us in the Owls? All right. All right. That's all we have. I'm the Diva D who carved out divas and
April Cobb with April's Beauty Bar with Diversity
and Equity in Education. And we're still and forever hosted by the fabulous, fantastic Bianca Gouldsby of Teaching for the Culture. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
And put your clothes on. Don't leave your clothes off. Put your clothes on. Put your clothes on.